I want to go where culture is, like
how
New
in the
York,
world did I raise such a
or at least
snob?
Connecticut or New Hampshire,
Well,
where
you
writers
couldn't
live in the
get
woods.
into those schools anyway.
Mom,
You can't even pass your driver's test.
because you wouldn't let me practice
The way
enough.
that you work, or the way that you don't work, you're not even worth state tuition, Christine.
My name is Ladybird.
Well, actually, it's not, and it's ridiculous.
Call me
because your name
Ladybird
is
like you
Christine.
said you would.
You should just go to City College. You know, with your work ethic, just go to City College and then to jail, and then back to City College, and then maybe you'd learn to pull yourself up and not expect everybody to do everything.
That was a clip from Ladybird, and I'm joined by star the wonderful Saoirse Ronan. Hello.
Hello.
That clip was you throwing yourself out of a car.
Out of a car, yeah.
How did you do
Standard. The huge. That's what we all do, isn't it?
Did they attach a big mat to the side of the car?
They actually did. I'd love to say, yeah. Why is that what you thought? Are you so pleased that you got it right? I knew it. No, I was telling people for a while that I did actually jump out of a car, and they were really impressed, but I couldn't keep up with the lie. They had a rig around, like the whole way around the car. So there was sort of like this platform around it that you could step onto. And they had, you know, because we were in America as well, and they're much more safe than we are. And so there was like 4 mats laid down for me and a stunt man making sure that nothing happened to me.
Wow.
So yeah,
It's like Ladybird Cirque du Soleil.
it was, yeah. Ladybird does her own stunts.
Congratulations on this film. It's just,
Thanks, Edith.
it's perfect. I think it really is.
Thanks. That's
Everything
so nice.
about it, and it really is. When you're describing it to people, how do you describe the film? What do you say it's about?
It's been really difficult to try and like sum it up in a few words. In its essence, it's about a kid who's trying to figure herself out, and she's fine doing that. And I think it's also about the relationship between a mother and a daughter.
Yeah.
And I do think also the romance is between her and her best friend.
Oh.
So really it's about her figuring herself out and all of these relationships that she has in her world, and how she sort of moves away from them and comes back to them and revisits them and learns from them. And, you know, it sounds cheesy, but it is kind of just life. It's like a year in the life of a 17-year-old.
I think that's why it's connecting with people so much, is because it is so relatable, whether you're a boy or a girl or a woman or a man or a mum or a dad. I think there is so much in there that you can relate to, and it's so clever. And Greta's writing is done in the way that in a sentence you can be like bent over double laughing, but by the end of it you're crying.
You're crying, yeah.
Like that scene there's a scene with you and Laurie Metcalf in a thrift shop, and it just felt like my mum and I, you kind of arguing and bickering, and then she just holds up a dress, and then even that line she says out of the changing room, and you pop your head out and you go, what if this is the best version?
I know. I know, and everyone's been there, and that's why she's so good, because also it suits the type of film that it is. But I think sometimes so much can be over explained in scenes, and you know, there's so many scenes that you'll see where a character is like, I just feel like this, and we're not like that, you know. and I think especially, you know, in the scenes in the car and the scenes between her mother and her, there's so much that's unsaid, and there's so much that's like, it's this pent up like frustration or whatever, like in that thrift store scene where she says, you know, why are you dragging your feet? Are you tired? And it's so passive aggressive and it's so not that. And then her voice changes when she talks to the woman who's going by, and I was like, I remember when I was younger and my mum would get on the phone and she'd have the telephone voice, and I'd be like, why do you always change your voice? Why can't you just be yourself? Just do you, mum.
Do you?
Just do you, mum. Yeah, it's and that's all Greta. It's all from her.
Now, I very much feel that she wanted you. She knew she wanted you for this part, because you knew like a couple of years before you
Yeah,
filmed
about
it.
a year before. I think she had been looking for people and she hadn't found anyone that sort of fit. And the producer had done a few of the films that I had done, and I was about to do a play with him. And so he was like, maybe we should look at Saoirse. And he said it exactly like that. And they sent me the script, and that was it, really. And Greta came to meet me at the Toronto Film Festival in 2015. We had never met before, and we both just sat side to side on a couch, and I was eating like a French onion soup, and it was really late at night, and we just read through the whole script, and that was sort of like the audition. you know.
The relationships feel so real when you watch them. That's what's incredible. Did you do any kind of chemistry testing with anyone? Because it just feels like there's no one else that could have played those parts
It does.
at all.
I know, yeah. There was no chemistry reading. She just cast it really, really well.
God, she's good.
And actually, she's so clever. And I think, you know, I mean, Laurie is a lovely, lovely person, so maybe in her case this wasn't true, but I feel like for all of the other actors, we're all quite similar to the characters we play. And I only realised halfway through the shoot, I kind of thought like, oh, right, I get why she's cast so-and-so, and I get why she's cast me, because there's elements of you in it, and she's just a real observer, so she obviously saw that in all of us.
The stuff with you and Laurie Metcalf, who plays Lady Bird's mum, is really special.
Yeah, it is.
Did you do much work prior to filming to think about that backstory of their relationship at all, or did you just kind of get on and film?
We kind of just got on and did it. I mean, we had about a week and a half, 2 weeks to rehearse, but that was also filled up with like fittings and all that sort of stuff. So really, Laurie and I had met up once about 6 months before in New York with Greta, but we just sort of had a chat and hung out, which was probably the best thing we could have done. And then once we started rehearsing, we only had about maybe like half a day. And we went through everything, and Laurie is such a pro when it comes to like table work, because she's from the theatre and she worked and she still does perform with Steppenwolf, the theatre in Chicago and stuff, which Tracy is, I think he's a founding member of. So for her, she was really brilliant about using the time to sort of like figure out what the trigger points would be in each argument scene, and, you know, where we had come from. And I think also both of us saw the good in our characters. So, you know, I think with her character in particular, you could read that on the page and go, oh, well, she's the worst, or she's a villain, or she's, you know, but she saw the good in her. And so I think that just naturally came out, and all of that love that we started to have with one another came out as well. So
it's funny because I one of the things that I was writing down as watching it was that she's not your usual mum character.
No,
there's so much more to her than that kind of moaning mum that you normally get on screen.
Well, this is the thing, but I think it's the same with a lot of more so female supporting characters. I think, like, I've been really lucky that I've gotten to play, you know, sort of leading characters in films that are really interesting, and the film is about them and all that sort of stuff. But I feel like a lot of the times with supporting female roles, they are literally just like the mom or the girlfriend or the sister, and they're so yeah, exactly, and there's nothing else to them. And Greta obviously didn't want to do that because she's smart, and we've all seen it and we're all kind of bored of it. And Laurie she's such a good smart actor that was already on the page. There was so much there. Like, there's so much in that character that just humanises her, really. Yeah. And you understand her, even though, like, she's harsh, but you get that it's coming from a place, I think, of love and fear. Because everything's about to change, you know.
Now, you've been at the Oscars where you've been nominated. This is your third nomination, is that right?
Yeah.
Greta's never been. Is that right?
I don't think she's ever been to the Oscars, and she's never been nominated. And she is the 5th woman ever.
Only the 5th?
In 90 years to be nominated for Best Director. It's insane.
It's crazy. The only other ones I can think of is Barbara Streisand and Catherine Bigelow.
And I can't think of anyone.
Sophia Coppola, maybe, for Lost in Translation, maybe?
Oh, yeah, she probably got nominated for that.
The 5th, that's crazy.
But that's it, though. There's like one other person.
It's like so bad. Is she excited? She must be over the moon.
She's so excited.
Because she normally sits at home and makes a party, doesn't she? She has a party.
And you know what, actually, I've got it on my other phone, but she sent us loads of us a photograph after we found out about the nominations. And it was a photograph of her and her friends when they were 15, and they were at an Oscar party, and the rest of them were in like these kind of cool teenage clothes, and she was in a full-on gown. She was in like this full red gown, and she had her hair done up and her makeup done, and she was like really tall for her age and like looked beautiful and was really excited. And now she's getting to go.
Oh, it's brilliant.
She's chuffed. Absolutely. And you know what? She deserves it. She made a brilliant film. She absolutely deserves it. So
I wish she'd been given a BAFTA nomination as well. I really thought she deserved that as well.
Yeah.
But you know, I think the film is going to get an amazing recognition.
I think so too.
Anyway, and you know, you've already won a Golden Globe.
So chill out. Chill out on winning.
I was reading an interview with you, and you were talking about how even at the age of 12, when you were doing, red carpets for Atonement and stuff, you very much recognised then that you were getting asked the different questions as to what men were being asked or boys were being asked on the carpet. Sort of thing. Has that changed?
Yeah, everyone's terrified to ask you about your dress now.
Good.
And one person I think has asked me, do I have a celebrity crush? And I was like, no, I don't. And this was the thing, is that even when I was a kid, I don't think I realised at the time that there was any difference in the type of questions I was being asked. Because I remember at the time it just infuriated me, just as a person who I just, without even knowing what feminism was at that stage, I just didn't want to be defined by that or by anyone else.
Yeah.
And I always found it really, really annoying when people would, my stomach is grumbling so much. I'm so sorry.
Someone get
I'm
Saoirse
so
some food.
hungry. But
What would you like?
are you going to get me something?
Go on, what would be on your list right now to eat? No, to eat right now. Go on. We can
Bag
send
of
some
popcorn. a banana.
in the morning.
Banana. Be great. Yeah.
Anyway,
few
you were
eggs.
going on. So by that point, you didn't know what
but
feminism was.
I
but
didn't
yeah.
know what feminism was, but at the same time, I was aware that this wasn't something I was comfortable with, being asked who I had a crush on or did I like dressing up or anything like. Because I also wasn't that kind of kid. I grew up in the countryside. Stomach again. Do you hear that? I grew up in the countryside, and I went to a mixed school, and boys and girls were just the same.
Yeah.
We were just, it was all the same. So to then go into a world where it seemed so separate felt weird.
Before you go, Mary Queen of Scots.
Yeah. Where are you from in Scotland, by the way?
I'm from a little fishing village called Anstruther, which is on the east coast near St Andrews.
Okay.
So about an hour north of Edinburgh.
Right.
But
I'm going to Scotland later.
Today?
Yeah. Going today.
Where about?
I'm going.
This isn't going out till next week, so it's fine.
Oh right, yeah. I'm going around, sort of southern.
Oh, just for a wee holiday.
Why not?
Nice. Wink, wink. What can you tell me about it? Because I'm so excited.
I hope you like it. It really feels like it's for the Scots. It's something that I had signed. I probably told you about it ages ago. I signed up to it when I was 18. So 5 years ago was when I was asked to do it. And I've been waiting to do it for a really long time. And Mary has been so misrepresented and misinterpreted in the history books, and it's because her story has always been told by the people who wanted to vilify her. And finally John Guy wrote this fantastic book that was true and it was honest, and Beau Willimon, who created House of Cards and is really great at political thrillers, he came on board to write the script. Josie Rourke directed it. And it's a really brilliant cast. People like Margot Robbie plays Elizabeth, and Guy Pearce is in it, Ian Hart, Jimmy McArdle, Jack Loudon, all these really great Scottish actors.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
I think
Martin
Jack's going to be
Compston.
the next James Bond, by the way. I'm just going to
He'd
throw
be
that out
great.
there.
He'd be great. He's a good one. But we're just really proud of it. And we shot up in Scotland for about a month, and then we did the rest in the studio. But I love it. I love the Scottish people. I love the history. Yeah, we're really excited about it.
Do you know when we're going to see it?
November, probably.
Wicked. Good luck
Thanks.
at the weekend.
Thanks.
I really hope to see you on that podium. You so deserve it.
Well, you'll be there, right?
I'll be waving.
I always love when you're there.
I'll
'cause
bring
you're
some polos and
lovely.
things. Just
Yeah, I'm gonna. Well, clearly,
I'll have
I
a
need
banana.
to eat something.
I'll have a
guys.
banana waiting for you. Saoirse, thank you so much, love.
Thank you.